I had a real revelation early in my career in 2001 when I was working as a journalist, and it was, my first paid full-time job. And I had been doing it for just about a year, and I ended up getting laid off very unexpectedly on September 10th, 2001. And,
Mm.
planning to
Oh my
start my
goodness.
job search the next day, which clearly didn't
Oh,
happen. And
yeah.
just recognizing how fragile the situation can be if you only have one income source. I mean, they gave me less than a week's severance. They gave me 4 days of severance because I had already worked Monday. So they paid me, generous guys. They paid me through the end of the week, and then in the midst of this national economic crisis, national homeland security crisis, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess you got to figure out how to support yourself now. I mean, it was just so alarming. And I realized, oh my gosh, I would like to try to take the steps so that I never have to be in that situation again. That if because things change, clients can get rid of you either suddenly or over time. A gig that you thought was locked up might change or be canceled. And you just can't be overly reliant on any one thing. That's a real structural vulnerability. And so it's really important to have that portfolio so that if one thing goes down, you don't have to have the structure implode.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me too that someone who has courses on thinking strategically and you've built a whole career out of strategy, that you would make diversification a part of your strategy because of that protection. And
Yeah,
we've
I
had
know you're a little bit
conversations
more
about
of a
that.
go deep guy rather than a go
Uh,
wide guy, though.
and you know what? And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast, because I truly believe that there are infinite pathways to success. And I like the fact that in that case, at least, there are a lot of similarities. In that case, we have a slightly different philosophy, and it's worked for me and it's worked for you. And so someone listening to this can say, maybe I want to be more diverse like Dorie Clark and have these different ways to protect my strategic investment. Or maybe I want to be a little more like Dave, where you just really ride what's hot as long as you can, and you just set money aside and prepare for the future while you're doing that. Both get you the same result, and just different levels of what you're comfortable with.
Totally. Yeah.
How important is that to you to have something very different than your day-to-day job? Do you feel like that's an essential part of your success? I'm trying not to lead you with the question, but how does that fit into your strategy for your life?
It fits in actually because, this is a good segue, Dave, well chosen, because this is part of a portfolio career sort of strategy, right? I think of this, and this is a concept that I write about in The Long Game. I think of this as being part of my 20% time where I'm doing sort of experimental activities. Musicals, have musicals made me, writing musicals, has it made me money? The answer is yes. I believe the specific amount is $200 over the past 6 years. So I have made money, but this is not anything I'm going to retire on or even pay my rent or, my internet bill with, to be very clear. That being said, for most things in life, if you are trying to build a skill set, there's a very long incubation period where something does not make you any money at all. But eventually, when you get good, when you get proficient, there's sort of a tipping point where if it actually did go to Broadway, I could make a lot of money from it. This could be very lucrative. I mean, not that money per se is why I'm doing it, but just, as one measure. So this really is a process. And it's a process that if I tried to do it in a year, I mean, obviously it would never work, right? I mean, this is a very long-term endeavor of learning to do something, doing it, building connections, getting sufficient credentials to be able to do this. So I think it's important for me to hedge, because the work that I do, over the years, it may change. I may get, bored or feel like I need a new challenge or whatever. Like, you've got to prepare for all kinds of eventualities. And so giving yourself a decade-long goal with plenty of time to operationalize it and execute it I think is quite important. And this is my version of that.
If you liked this video and want to listen to the full episode, go to your favorite podcast app and subscribe to the Dave Crenshaw Success Project. You can also find all the full episodes at SuccessProject.Show.